Hello, my name is Keisha Maddox, and today we will be discussing hygiene theory and corporate culture in relation to what Uber is doing wrong in the present day. A brief overview of the topics we'll cover today is looking at land, labor, and capital, which have been considered since agrarian times the basic resources for any type of successful organization. We'll be reviewing Robert Owen's references to vital living machines in relation to labor and employees. We'll also examine Frank Herzberg's hygiene factors and what's necessary and how it can relate to today's organizations, including Uber. We'll be looking at Uber's current HR situation and some cultural problems that they are having presently and how the hygiene factors, if practiced, could have prevented their problems. And we'll also review how Uber's situation relates to the need for labor and hygiene factors to be considered in present day. Now, during the pre-industrial revolution time period, traditional and sustenance and agrarian societies did view land, labor, and capital as the basic necessities for any type of production. Land could be not just real estate, but any resources such as minerals, plants, anything that went into the production process. Labor, yes, it could be considered physical strength, but labor was any kind of employee, mental facets, physical facets, etc. And capital, it says it is, as it states, not just money. It includes all human creations that help produce wealth. A car used as a taxi, a prior product being used, say a couch cushion going into a couch would be considered capital. The Industrial Revolution did change the thought processes a little bit in relation to what's needed for successful production, successful industry. Labor, though, was still recognized as being a necessity. Now, Robert Owen, as we looked at previously in the overview, referred to human beings as vital living machines. So to think of them as, if you wanted to put them as a technology, they could be considered machinery. However, they are just like any kind of machinery, they need to be taken care of, such as machines have to be oiled. You have to be concerned about the well-being of your employees. So he did recognize the needs of any kind of worker outside of work, and he sold quality goods at stores at just over cost. So he really wasn't making a profit just in order to benefit the employees, and he advocated and instituted at several locations the 8-hour workday. He's best known for New Harmony, Indiana, where he tried to create a utopian society in order to better everyone, even though it was considered an economic failure within about 2 years. Now, what do you think could be the possible consequences of not recognizing your workers' needs as more than just them being there to produce or to do whatever it is that you want them to do? Now, if we look here, Frank Herzberg as well discussed a lot in relation to the employee. He advocated that attitudes and work experiences are equally as important as the worker being present. And he is the creator of the hygiene factors. Hygiene factors being factors that will create job dissatisfaction if they occur versus factors that will create job satisfaction if they occur. Now, if job dissatisfaction is occurring and you correct what's causing it, that's just going to put the worker at a neutral state, not necessarily at something that they're satisfied with. Hygiene factors that need to be met in order for dissatisfaction to not be present included proper working conditions, coworker relations not being tumultuous, policies and rules that are fair, quality supervisors, and a base wage or salary that they feel is fair. If those are all being met and taken care of, you'll have a worker kind of in a neutral state. To create job satisfaction, you would have to fill a motivator factor such as achievement, recognition, or responsibility, something to that effect to actually make them satisfied with their job. Now I want to look in relation to Uber, how the hygiene factors are affecting Uber presently. Currently, there's an ex-female engineer that has taken her information to the media concerning a sexual harassment claim that went on over a period of about a year. She states that the situation was reported to HR, that the individual that did this wasn't punished, he wasn't reprimanded. HR simply said that he was a high performer and that this was an innocent mistake, even though what she's describing could never really be an innocent mistake. And whether or not an individual is a high performer should have no bearing on whether or not he's punished or reprimanded for what it is that he did. Uber is known for having what's called an intense workplace culture. So there is a lot of turnover going on in their companies specifically. And when the information was made public by this engineer, top management claimed that they weren't even aware of this situation, even though it seems to have escalated continually. It seems that HR never notified these top people. Uber's problem really seems to lie in their management basics. As we've looked at over time from agrarian through the Industrial Revolution, labor is considered to be necessary for any type of success in the industry. And quality labor is certainly better than the quantity of labor. That has been studied time and time again, that one worker, if they're good at it or shown the correct way to do things, is much better than having a few people who don't know or are unable to perform the task. How do you think Uber maybe could have screened out performers that might be top performers but are known for a history of these bad influences and bad actions in their workplace? It is necessary for employers to think about the worker as a whole, being their attitudes towards work or how they've behaved at past locations. And it seems that they haven't done that in this case. Uber's unmet hygiene factors would include their interpersonal relations between, say, the engineer and this person who the sexual harassment claim is against. The supervision wasn't there. Top management wasn't even aware of what was going on as far as administration or HR even doing anything about it. This in turn, this dissatisfaction leads to a high turnover for Uber, which in turn leads to a higher cost. This increased cost is bad for bottom line business. Failing at management basics is simply poor business. It's bad for your bottom line. It makes you appear poorly to the company as a whole, to the public. And simply speaking, if you aren't covering the basics, how do you ever expect the organization to succeed? And that's really what you have to be concerned about. So overall, with the failing at management basics, it seems that it has caused a backlash, and Uber has been constantly in the media for issues, whether it be this or there's also been some conflict with competitors as well. And if they could have simply screened out some of these poor candidates in the beginning for employees, they could have avoided a lot of headache and a lot of controversy now. So what do you think Uber's biggest problem is, and how could they solve it? I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to my presentation today, and feel free to ask any questions. Thank you.